Hi there everybody, this is David, and I'm a massive fan of the Mana series. I always have been, ever since I first played Final Fantasy Adventure back on the Game Boy. I was just a little kid, 9 years old back then, but my love for the series has remained. But it was really cemented whenever a couple years later, Secret of Mana came out for the SNES. The Mana series is exactly what action RPGs should be. They are fun, lighthearted, bright, beautiful, colorful, and now it looks like the game of the summer, Visions of Mana, is here, and I'm also here to tell you all about it. And I do think that that's worth a sub, as I'm trying my hardest to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So with your help, your like, and your sub, I do feel that I can get there. So thank you so much for that, and now let me deep dive into what I think could be the action RPG of the year. You start off kind of like plopped right on into the middle of the journey, where Karina and Morley have already joined up with you on your pilgrimage to the Mana Tree. You hit the ground running, where you can really explore the world to your heart's content and see what the game is all about without having to go through a bunch of exposition at the beginning, or only be able to play through with Val. This was a really smart idea on Square Enix's part, because it really lets you get a taste of the adventure and also get a feel for the game instead of just seeing the very beginning or just the first chapter. So here, you're given free rein to explore a smaller region, a much larger region, and a town. And each of them are distinctly different, and each of them do showcase many different gameplay mechanics. The first region that you can explore is rather small and linear, just to kind of get your feet wet as you become acclimated to the combat, and it also allows you to experiment with elemental vessels, in this case using Luna to slow down time so that you can jump onto the ice floes and cross the river. And while that first region is small, it is breathtakingly beautiful, and there's still plenty of treasure strewn about to find. After about 15 minutes or so, though, you'll be out of there and into the Fallow Steppe, the main meat of this demo. And it is here that you can really see what the developers are talking about whenever they said that it's going to be an open region game. Because this place is massive, and it easily rivals Xenoblade for just the sheer breadth and depth of all the things that you can do. I mean, even if you just headed straight from the entrance all the way to the exit in one little beeline of this zone, you'd still be there for a good 15 or 20 minutes. But who does that? You're here to explore, not do a beeline. And boy, oh boy, are there plenty of things to do. Upon entering, you're going to be seeing a small village, and then you're given your first fast travel overworld option, the Pickle, whom you can call with a bell and then ride on his back, kicking the ever-loving shit out of the monsters as you blow by them through the vast fields. Along the way, you'll find treasures, sparklies to collect, tons of monsters, elemental Ares, and even super strong monsters to challenge. This is definitely not one of those empty open worlds. And also, taking a page out of the Tales of or the Star Ocean series, as you're running around fighting monsters or, just enjoying the scenic ride on the back of the Pickle, all your party members will be chatting with one another. So whereas the previous Mana games were much lighter in the story department, Visions of Mana really seems to develop their characters quite extensively. I mean, not only are they talking and chatting between combat and while you're exploring, but every single time that you enter and exit a new zone, your characters will talk to one another as well. Now, don't get it twisted. This isn't talking like in a Trails game or anything like that, because that's a bit much. This is just a good 3 to 5 minutes, which to me is just the perfect amount of time to slow down, comment on their objectives, and then dive right on back into the game. The combat is fast, fluid, and fun, and you can quickly switch between the characters that you can control, with Val being your strong, sexy knight in shining armor, Karina being your southern belle healer and supporter from afar, and Morley being your more formal, serious, fast cat warrior. I mostly found myself switching between Val and Morley as needed, while letting the AI take control of Karina and her healing. And while you might think that this game is on the easier side, simply because of the graphics, it's not. I find those graphics to be timeless. And I've gotta say, whenever you go in and you see those notorious harder monsters, they can be ass-clenchingly difficult, which is so refreshing in today's day and age. It's not like you could just use a limit break or a class strike and just kill them. No, you're going to be fighting for quite a bit of time. Physical attacks are divided into one of two different types. There's slash and strike. And if the attack appears as yellow, then the monsters are weak to it. If it's blue, they're resistant to it. And if it's gray, they're immune. In addition to that, there are 8 different types of magical elemental damage corresponding to the 8 different spirits of mana. So if you find yourself up against monsters that are resistant to your attacks or even immune, you can choose the bar or the power of an elemental by selecting an elemental vessel for that character, equipping it, and then changing their class, which they can also change their weapon types and give them an entirely different set of moves. Personally, I think that the most efficient thing to do though would be to have different physical damage types on each of your different characters. So if you do find yourself up against a stronger monster, you could just switch control to a different fighter and then hit their weaknesses that way. The ring menu and shortcuts for magic and items are back, so you no longer have to pause the combat to go in the ring menu and cast your spells like you did back in, Secret of Mana. Instead, you can access them with a touch of a button, ensuring lightning quick combat. The boss fights are absolutely epic too. There's this one octopus battle, and similar to Trials of Mana, he'll be telegraphing his attacks, and you've really got to be on your toes, dodging and jumping if you want to make it through this one alive. Also, you can summon those elementals that you have on hand to slow down time for the enemies or even speed your own allies up. So there's a lot of nuance to the combat, and I just cannot wait to dive deeper into it. And it's kind of a strange thing to say, but it's the truth. Side quests are new to the Mana series, and they're first introduced here in this game. So if you see an NPC with an exclamation point over their head, they will initiate a side quest, which the game does keep track for you. And this could be anything from finding an item that they lost, or fighting a super powerful monster, or just killing a bunch of other monsters. And you're definitely going to want to be sure to do all of these to get those sweet, delicious rewards. The game is pretty nice about keeping track of everything for you in the menu too. Stuff like the various elemental areas, or how many treasure chests are in each particular region are right there in the menu, as is the fast travel. And in kind of a tiny metal twist, you'll find grizzly syrups everywhere. And you want to get as many of those as humanly possible because you can exchange them for power-ups from the local dud bears, which is such a cute little callback to Legend of Mana. But that's not the only callback that I found. What about that ship that you get on? It is aptly named the Prim. I wonder who that is. One little thing that did disappoint me though, it was in the settlement, and I was there, and I found out that, I couldn't enter the houses. And I thought to myself, well, maybe because it's a small settlement, and it's outside, it's in this open region, I'm sure once I get inside the actual town, I'll be able to enter the houses, right? Wrong. You can't enter the houses there either. And it always bothers me whenever game designers go backwards, we could enter houses on the Game Boy. Why can't we enter houses on the PlayStation 5? All told though, I thought that this was an absolutely adorable little game, and it is everything that I ever dreamed that a Mana could possibly be. You're not getting reset back to level 1 every single stage. It's not a genre swap or a real-time strategy game. There's no Havoc combat system or god-awful weapon and magic grind. Instead, this is just pure, unadulterated fun, and I am here for it because this is definitely my game of the summer. So now, I want to know, how do you feel about Visions of Mana, and are you going to be buying it? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this video, here's another video that I really do think that you'll enjoy, so please be sure to check that one out, and as always, have a good day.